The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke and Kevin Price. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and we have a great show for you tonight. Kevin Price learned of some breaking news this past Thursday and broke the story on Friday that the legendary Camden County head football coach Jeff Herron was retiring. Kevin caught up with Coach Herron this week and has a full report. Ware County wrestling coach Joe Eichfeld has surpassed the 500 win mark, and I had a chance to talk to Coach Eichfeld about his storied history in high school wrestling. On a somber note, the nation lost a true hero this past weekend. Former Ware County Gators specialist Kennedy Sanders made the ultimate sacrifice defending our freedoms in Jordan, as she was one of the 3 troops killed in the drone strike. Kennedy played point guard for the Lady Gators 2017 team that went 17-0 to start the season. She had a smile that not only could just light up a room, but could light up the entire gym. Our thoughts and prayers are with her parents, family, friends in this difficult time. Godspeed, Specialist Kennedy Sanders. You will be missed. We'll be right back.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Price once again for On Air with 912 Sports. Big coaching news came out last Friday here in the 912 in Southeast Georgia high school football. Camden County head coach Jeff Herron announced his retirement from coaching. We announced that news shortly after Coach Herron told his team and the coaches there at Camden. And of course, we wanted to hopefully get an opportunity to have a extensive interview with Coach Herron to talk about what all went into that decision and more. We did that this week, and now we are glad to be able to air that interview with the coach right here on air with 912 Sports this evening. So here's our interview with Coach Herron talking about his retirement and much more. Hello, everybody. Kevin Price with Coach Herron. And, Coach, we'll just jump right in. Obviously, a big announcement coming out of Camden County. Last Friday, you announced your retirement to the team and everyone there in Camden. And, Coach, I guess we'll start on the back end of that. I know you probably thought long and hard about this decision, but maybe really didn't think about the reaction. And I know you've probably been overwhelmed with calls and texts and emails and so forth, just congratulating you. Were you kind of taken aback by that in the immediate aftermath of making that announcement?
Well, yes, Kevin, I guess I really was, and, very appreciative of all the text and phone calls and emails that I've gotten, and almost all of them have been positive. The nature of our business today, you never know, but, again, it was kind of heartwarming, and, making a decision like that is always tough, and, walking away from the thing that you've done all your life is it's not easy. And, I can remember when my dad retired, and, just again, I'm not sure he liked his job, and it was still hard to retire. I've loved my job, so it makes it hard to do. But I do know it's the right time and the right thing at this point.
Well, Coach, just talk about the decision, what all went into it. Obviously, you made a decision last Friday, but had you had your mind made up for some time before that?
Well, not really. I actually made the decision on Tuesday, and told our superintendent, Dr. Green, and, asked that we not say anything until Friday because we had our banquet on Thursday. And I didn't want to say anything until after the banquet. But, it's something, Kevin. I started thinking about it during the season, which was really unusual. But it, I started considering that, this is getting harder to do. I'm not sure that, I'm the right guy for it anymore. And, then over Christmas, I had some time away, had some time to really think about it and pray about it, and, talk with my wife about it. And, so I've been leaning that direction. And, then again, one day I'd come home and say, yeah, I'm going to try it another year. And the next day I'd come home and say, no, so it kind of depended what happened at school, kind of how I felt, I guess. But, again, the bottom line is, just we thought a lot about it, prayed a lot about it, and felt like this is what I was being led to do.
And Coach, obviously that was very noble of you to, wait till after that banquet. When you said banquet, people may not understand y'all were celebrating y'all's, 2023 season. Right after the season's over, there's the holidays and the whole 9 yards. Everybody gets back to school, and a lot of planning has to go into something like that, particularly with the season you guys had going all the way to the state semifinals. And I certainly think that was probably the right decision because obviously you've gotten a lot of phone calls and texts and whatnot since then. You really wanted the focus of that banquet to be on the team and not a farewell to Coach Herron, right?
Oh, absolutely. I was adamant that I knew I was not going to say anything until the banquet was over. And, it would have been a good time as far as being able to tell everybody at one time. But, we had a really fun, exciting year, and I didn't want to, do anything that was going to take anything away from recognizing this group of kids. And we had a great ceremony on Thursday night. Everything was great, and almost talked myself out of quitting because I was having so much fun at the banquet. But I'm glad I did not say anything that night. I do think that was the right thing.
Well, Coach, in the letter, I guess to the Camden community, the Wildcat Nation, if you will, you did cite a health issue that
you've been public about, but obviously you've got that under control and things seem to be, headed in the right direction with that. But I'm sure it wasn't just that. You got a lot of little grandkids running around playing ball and various things. And so I guess there was ball games to attend and family time to get to. There it was probably just more than the health issue, correct?
Well, certainly a combination of a lot of things, Kevin. I mean, now, the health issue and, it is worn on me. I can't lie about that. I mean, right now the treatments that I'm on are working well, and I'm very thankful to that. And, um, certainly though that has played a part in my thinking, and want to be able to spend as much time with my family, my grandkids, and do all those things that you mentioned. And so all that played a part in it. And I also, again, I did not want to stay too long, if that makes sense. I don't know, but I didn't want people to start saying, gosh, he's getting too old for this, or, his health's too bad. Or I didn't want my assistants to go, I don't think Coach Aaron's pulling his load, things like that. And that was important to me because, I love this place. I love this community and the school and our players, and I want what's best for them. And I just kind of, as much as I hate to admit it, I think, as I said in my statement, any man hates to admit that you're not as good as something as you once were. I felt like that they could do better. And, again, I don't, and that may sound crazy to some people, but, I wanted to do what was best for them. I didn't want to hang on like a punch drunk boxer, and just try to stay up one more round. I wanted to give them an opportunity to find somebody good and be able to get better and make the program even better.
Well, Coach, I know what you just said, but obviously you still had it, and you'll still leave with it. But I understand. But I guess you're like a lot of other coaches. You're wired a certain way, and if you can't do it that way, that bothers you, much less what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, again, I've done this for a long time, and there's a lot goes into coaching football that the general public does not know. And, again, I wanted to do it at a high level. And, I kind of came to the realization this year that was becoming tougher and tougher to do, whether that's because of age or whether that's because of, my health battle, or just the fact that, I just got to the point I just didn't want to do it. I don't know, but it was becoming harder to do the job that I feel like you have to do, certainly at the 7A level in Georgia.
Coach, let me ask you this, and I almost ask you this jokingly, but maybe seriously too. In our podcast weekly, over the last 3 years that you've been back at Camden, there were a lot of Nick Saban references, and if anybody follows football, which I know a lot of people listening to this certainly do, a lot of the things happened in college football drove him out, but not necessarily that with you. But I mean, was there anything maybe that he said that you go, you know what? That applies to me. I've been wrestling with this same thing, for the last several weeks. Did anything that he may have said during his retirement click with you and make you lean toward this decision?
We actually, it was my idea first, and Coach Saban just copied me. I think maybe no, I'm just playing. Honestly, I can't say that's true, Kevin. I mean, yes, I'm a Nick Saban fan. I admire what he's done, and when he retired, the first thing that went through my mind is, he's tired. He doesn't want to deal with how college football is going, and that's just my opinion. It does not mean there's any truth to that whatsoever. I don't know, but Coach Saban has been doing a great job, and college football has become tougher to coach in. There's no question. Every college coach that comes through here recruiting says it. They all hate the path that we're on. And, so I'm sure that played a part in his decision. And, on a lesser level, I guess, maybe it's not less if you're sitting where I'm sitting, but, there's a whole lot more things that happen right now in high school football that 15, 20 years ago we never had to deal with. And social media has changed the game. A lot of things, and I won't say them because this is not the time or the place, but you deal with more stuff now, more outside noise than you used to have to. And again, I think like all the other issues that I've mentioned as far as me retiring, that part played a part in it too. When I was 40 years old and in great health, I could handle most anything, but when you're my age now and, you got doctors telling you that, you got to be concerned about things, sometimes what's really important to somebody else don't mean as much to me. So
Mm-hmm.
I would sit around sometimes and, hear things going on, people complaining or whatever, and I'm like, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do it. But, again, when I was younger, I wanted to do it. But as you get older, I guess we all kind of like, I want to do things that I want to do. And maybe that's a selfish way to look at it. I don't know. But, again, I've had a great run. The good Lord's blessed me. We've had some really good football players. We've had some really good coaches that work for great administrators. Been able to kind of, pick my times and places. And, so I've been extremely blessed. And, again, it's just the right time. And, I've tried it before. It didn't work, but hopefully the experience has taught me that now I need to get some hobbies that aren't involving coaching.
Well, Coach, I was going to ask you. You have stepped aside before, and have come back, but maybe not as a head coach, or maybe not even as a coordinator. But is there any chance that you would come back as a position coach, a volunteer coach, or maybe is it just rec league with the grandkids, if at all, or maybe a wing T camp for 2 or 3 days?
Well, when I supposedly retired the first time, I guess, from here, I knew I was not through coaching. I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And, going to Prince Avenue was totally different, than what it was here. But I knew I wasn't done coaching. I wanted to do something different. When I retired at TL Hanna, I was doing it because of, the health stuff. They had just
Mm-hmm.
told me that, and I, got scared and said, I got to quit and, do stuff. And, once my health kind of stabilized a little bit and the situation, it was just a perfect time because we already had a house at Tennessee Tech, had a cancer center right there on campus. It was just a perfect move for me at that time to get back into coaching. I never anticipated being a head coach again or going to that. But when this job came open and, they asked me to come back, this was home. It was, I would have not gone back for any other job than this one. And so I do not see myself going anywhere else. I really don't want to. And, the next coaching I do, I've joked about this and said, yes, it'll be rec league soccer or softball or whatever, with my grandkids, but they are hard to coach. I will say that. So I might not want to bite into that apple because they're harder to coach than these 150 kids I got here sometimes.
Did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal!
Coach, I promise just a few more questions, but obviously when you came back, there were some things to fix, and obviously you guys have gotten better each year, going all the way to the state semifinals this year. But I guess number one, I guess you feel good about what y'all did accomplish in this second stint. Certainly, I know you felt good about the first stint, but then also, do you feel good about where you're leaving the program, handing it off to the next guy?
Well, I do. I really do. We've made a lot of progress, and again, when they hired me, they wanted me to get things back to where and how we used to do it, and there was, that was a part of the discussion, and I certainly feel like we have done that. We've turfed both of our middle school fields. We got the high school field returfed. We're in the process of taking over the stadium. We're talking about an indoor facility, and we've been able to improve our coaching staff, I think, drastically, improve our middle school coaching staffs. Made some improvements in our weight room, locker room, and just a whole lot of things that I think were positives during these 3 years. And so, yes, I'm proud of where we're at, and I think we've got some really good kids coming, and most importantly to me is, they think they're supposed to win now,
Mm-hmm.
and that is something I'm extremely proud of. I did not do myself. It has been a community effort, and all our coaches and administrators, teach, even our student section. I mean, it's just they got back into it, and it was fun to watch and be a small part of.
Awesome, coach. And I guess just looking toward the future, you could maybe get on a soapbox here, but I'll leave that up to you. But are you concerned about the future of high school football in Georgia? I know you alluded to that a little bit, but the recruiting that some schools do or coaches do, I put that in quotes. But NIL is going to definitely going to become a part of high school athletics here in Georgia. We'll see where it goes, but a little bit like Saban, are you concerned about some of that stuff and where high school football might be headed? Because I know you love the sport and the purity of it.
I do, Kevin. And, one of the things that I always loved about Camden County, that was really, really unique. And I won't say unique, it's all over the South, but, something that was great about this place was our kids played for our school. They played for our community for the most part. It was about representing Camden County, representing our school, our community, and they played for that. They lived for that. They grew up wanting to do that. I had some experience in Metro Atlanta that we had kids like that. We certainly did. But there were some kids that they move around, and they're not concerned about their home school. They're not concerned about the community that they grew up in. They changed high schools 2 or 3 times. I don't like that part of it. I never have. And, so again, I've made the comment that I think it has become much harder for 7A schools, us, Valdosta, Lowndes, Colquitt, Tiff now, Richmond Hill. I think it's become much harder for us to compete each year for a state championship, because you're in the playoffs. You're going to get forced to travel all the way to Atlanta, no matter what, at some point. Sometimes 4 times. But you know that's a factor. The distance you have to travel to play your region games, the distance you have to travel in the playoffs are factors, and the fact that at some point you're going to run into a quote all-star team probably in the Atlanta area. And again, you can't tell kids and parents they can't move and stuff, but that's become more the norm than certainly it used to be, and it's frustrating to me. Now, again, do I think Camden can win it all, or Colquitt, or Lane? Yes, but we're going to have a special class of kids come through together. They're going to have to stay together. They're going to have to avoid injuries. They're going to have to get a good draw. And in the old days, I felt like every year we had a shot. Some years better than others, but I don't know if that's the case. I mean, Colquitt had one of the best teams I think they've ever had this year, with a lot of kids that had started for 3 years. They ran into a very, very good Milton team, and Milton had several kids that over the years had moved into their school, and Colquitt County, it wasn't able to overcome that. And I think it's a factor for the South, and I think something the state's got to address. Again, it's kind of like college right now, though, with the NIL and the transfer portal. it's almost to the point I don't know that they can fix it. It's going to have to take a drastic thing. Well, I think, high school and people moving and stuff, I don't know the answer. Again, no coach is going to. There's very few coaches in the state of Georgia that I've ever thought were recruiting kids. Very, very few, if any, really. But if you're successful, your program's good, you got good facilities, kids will move in. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's changed the landscape of high school football. And again, yes, kind of like Saban, maybe I just don't want to deal with that anymore. That again, that's a small factor, but it is a factor.
No, I can't say that I blame you there. And Coach, one last question. Any idea what Camden's going to do as far as finding a new coach, and how involved will you be in that whole deal or process?
$1 million question there. $1 million question. I've been asked that a few times.
I'm sure.
Having people call and text me wanting to apply for the job. Or I said, dang man, I didn't got my office even straightened up yet. You're already. But no, our administration, they've got a good plan. They're already talking about it and stuff. And when I told our superintendent she was great, and I just said, listen, I'll be as involved as you want me to be, or I'll disappear as quick as you want me to. It's up to you all. And again, I hope they get the right person. Don't know what the right person or who the right person is, and that is not my decision. So again, I don't have a lot of information about that right now. And I told the kids this morning in the weight room, we're trying to kill them right now, lifting and running and doing what we always do. And I told them, I said, look, everybody's worried about, what's going to be next. I said, let's just worry about right now, and let's just keep getting better and not let anybody outwork us. And then when the change comes, we'll go on from there. So hopefully they'll get somebody that everybody feels great about. But you know how that is. I mean, they could hire Nick Saban and half the people would be mad about it, and it's just the way it works. But, there's a lot of really good people that are wanting to coach at Camden County. I do know that.
Good enough, Coach. Fair enough. Well, you've been mighty gracious with your time once again. I know you got college coaches coming through there, still wanting to recruit your kids and whatnot. So we're going to let you go. But you've always been gracious, particularly with me. I certainly appreciate that. And I know you're not going to do less media interviews, but hopefully you'll still do one with me from time to time.
Yeah. The next one I do with you probably is going to cost you either a shrimp dinner or a round of golf, one of the other. Okay.
Okay. Hey, that might be all. That might make it all the more merrier. I might even just call you even more often since we get to eat or play golf.
All right. I appreciate what you guys do. Have a good day.
Thank you, Coach. Yes, sir. You too.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports. We're joined here with the Ware County Gator wrestling coach, Coach Joe Eichfeld. Coach, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well, man. Appreciate you joining us on the show tonight. Coach, we're here celebrating your 500-plus victory now because we're over 500. Yeah. But before you ever got to 500, Coach, you had to have win number one. Tell us a little bit about what your memories are of win number one.
Win number one. That was 15 years ago. It was I was kind of flustered. I know it was at our first annual Swamp Duels, and I think it was versus Brantley, but that was the first year that we ever hosted a tournament. First year I ever organized and hosted a tournament, and we had a team drop out at the last minute, and I was really flustered. And the last thing that I was really concerned with at that point was, got to win this first match. But we did win. We won a couple matches that year during that tournament. I don't think we placed in the top. We didn't place in the top 4, but I think we went 3-2, and I think it was against Brantley. Coach Collins and I had a little conversation about that. Right. I mean, that first tournament was mind blowing.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, you're sitting there, you got all your your matches set up, and then all of a sudden you have a team that doesn't show, and you guys go in scramble mode.
Yeah, we did. That was the only time that happened. I made sure of that.
Oh, well, with that win number one, did you ever imagine, okay, 500 is somewhere down the line, or was that just something in the distant future?
Honestly, no. I never even thought about it. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even have known I was getting close to 500 this year unless my wife said, hey, you might have 500 wins this year. I was like, really? I remember when I got my 300th win because I remember Reese Poole was on the team, and we won the duel, and they came up to me with this sign, and it said 300. And I was like, what's 300? And they're like, that was your 300th duel. And I was like, it was? I was like, oh, go figure. Now here we are at 500.
Well, Coach, even before your first win, even before 500 for sure, someone got you interested in wrestling. Who do you credit getting you interested in wrestling?
I have to credit that to my high school coach. I was fortunate to grow up in one of the most dominant high school wrestling areas in the country. My high school coach was Coach Gary Papa. I was one of his first 2 state championship teams at Paul VI High School in New Jersey. And then he eventually went over to Camden Catholic High School and won a bunch of state championships over there. But I was surrounded by the likes of Division I national finalists, All-Americans. As a matter of fact, one of the guys I used to wrestle with in high school was the first 4-time All-American for West Virginia. His name was John Koss. I used to pick him and his brother up for practice every day, and his brother, Ricky, was Jordan Burroughs' high school coach. So this is kind of where I grew up, and I didn't even know where I was. I didn't know this was happening, but the program was excellent. It taught me a lot about life and the same philosophy that I use now. I got that from high school. And once I was part of that program, I just never looked back. I mean, I wanted to be involved with it pretty much forever.
Right. Well, you made the mention about positives in life, and that's exactly what wrestling teaches a lot of people that get involved with it. But what do you think is the biggest impact you see from wrestling having on a young student's life?
Letting them know that they're in control of their future based on the decisions that they make right now. Our philosophy is basically 6 words: respect, commitment, discipline, hard work, and sacrifice. And I've even had some wrestlers who didn't fully buy into the philosophy while they were here, but they've come back to me later and said, what you taught me in the wrestling room, I didn't really think about it hard enough while I was in high school, but it saved my life, or it's why I got to where I am now. Or if I didn't have those values instilled in me the way you put them in me, then I wouldn't have accomplished what I accomplished. I've had a lot of kids come back to me and say that. That's actually the most satisfying thing in wrestling, is having them say that. I mean, we're talking about guys, they weren't state champions, they weren't state placers. Some of them never even qualified for state, but they understood the philosophy. Even if they didn't fully buy in while they were in high school, it stuck with them to the point where it helped them in the future. And that's really why I do this. I mean, I do like to win, but I really, because for the same thing for me, I was never a state champion. I was never an All-American. I mean, I did pretty well in high school and college, but the values that I learned from my high school program that I took to college and that I continue with in this is what mean the most.
Right. Well, obviously, I mean, you've been in wrestling a long time. You've had to see changes over the last, 15, 20 years. What do you think the biggest changes that you've seen in wrestling since your time as being coach?
The biggest, the most obvious is you don't have to cut your hair. You don't have to shave your beards anymore. But if you're talking about technique, the whole funky nature of wrestling now didn't exist when I was wrestling in high school and college. It was pretty much grinding out the basics. You get into a power position and you just finish, which is still part of it. But now all the different defenses to defenses, the funk progressions, and just the funky nature of wrestling, it just really wasn't in place when I was wrestling in high school and college.
Would you say it's a little bit more finesse today than it was back when you were wrestling?
Finesse, I would have to agree with that a little bit, because I mean, when I was growing up, it was probably power. You power to this position, you power to finish it. Now, there are techniques, like a lot of rolling around, a lot of funky styles, a lot of, if you get into this position and you move this way, this is where you end up. And what do you do from there?
Right.
Wrestling's always been chained, from one technique to the next. But I think now, I guess finesse would be a good way of putting it.
Right.
I wouldn't, maybe even more technical, because, and I learned this in high school from one of the guys I wrestled with. If you know a breakdown, a takedown, escape, and a pinning combination, you can be a state champion if you know them better than anybody else. You got to be able to say, I'm going to come in on a single leg shot and I'm going to take you down, and they know it. You can do it anyway. That's pretty much what
that's the guy that usually wins.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, congratulations on your 500th victory plus now. The number keeps going up. But what's next for Coach E?
Well, this year's my 28th year in the classroom. Next year will be my 29th, and I've got about 200 and some days saved. So next year will be my last year in the classroom. Well, I'll probably do 49%. But as far as coaching is concerned, I got one more season. Then I'm going to free up a little bit of time. I think I'll get involved in officiating and some things like that. I'm still going to stay involved in wrestling, but got one more solid year.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time today. Congratulations on 500 victories, and keep that total rolling. You got all next year to add to it. Who knows? Maybe you can get to 600.
I'd have to have a heck of a lot of matches to do that. We'll see.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal!
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.